Now, here's my question. Did this investigation suggest hidden truths that you could report on? I learned, and this is true, I learned of the creation calendar actually on October 9th of last year. Never knew anything about it. Never. And I've been banging on this thing and tearing it apart and looking at it and trying to make sense of it. Why? Because it's now a new tool to me. I had stethoscopes, I had CT scanners, I had MRIs, I had ultrasounds, I had all kinds of tests, tools for my work that I no longer am performing. Now I have ChatGPT, large language model. I have Grok, and I challenge them. Now I have a scientific calendar. I want to know, is it good or not? And believe me, I really just hit, trying to figure this thing out for myself. And you can tell, and here's another on the question. These got out of line. I got out of sequence. And I asked Grok, how accurate is the NASA's 5,000 year calendar of solar eclipses and lunar? I am telling you, this is unbelievable. They are, for the lunar eclipses, it is accurate within absolutely just phenomenally tight arc minutes, milli-arc seconds, or arc minutes, or arc seconds, there we go, on the lunar eclipse. Why? Because they laser it. They can use laser guidance on the timing of a lunar eclipse. They can't do that on a solar. But what's the accuracy for this cannon by NASA is within minutes current, very close. If you go out 4,000 years, then it begins, because of the rotational issues, you go 4,000 years into the past or future, it then becomes less accurate to about 30 minutes either before or after. At 4,000 years, are you kidding me? At 4,000 years, you can get it within 30 minutes? Yes. With this calendar, yes. And I'm not kidding you. This is true information right here. And that is contained in the calendar that you got on your phone. Is this? This is because I wanted to know. Here it says, the timing predictions are typically accurate to within seconds to plus or minus 1 minute. That's what's on your phone. Anyway, so there's timing uncertainties of several minutes to tens of minutes when you go back 2,000 years or ahead 3,000 years. Anyway, now comes what I've been wanting to teach. Oh man, here's when it gets good.
You're gonna get a little passionate.
Let's go to Matthew 25, King James Version. Please look at that. Matthew 25. This is Matthew 25, to give you a reference. This is the fifth of 5 Mount of Olivet discourses. The fifth and final one before Jesus dies. The fifth one. And we already played you, the first part was of the 10 virgins. Remember the 10 virgins without the oil? Now we're coming to the second part of this chapter. Now here it comes. Here's what it says. The kingdom of heaven, just a descriptive term, is as a man. Got that? Is as King James, a man traveling into a far country who called his own servants and delivered them what? His goods. His goods, the master's goods. And unto one 5 talents, another 2, and another 1. To every man according to his business capability. All right. So, what happened? So, the guy that got 5 traded and made another 5. 2 to 4, 1, and he stuck I'd have to remove 12 of these bottles to make the weight of 1 talent. In the Greek, it's 34 kilograms, almost 75 pounds. And I will ask anyone, if you would like to lift this, and you can lift it, I would be very happy to see you do it. This is extremely heavy. And that is the talents that they had back in the time of Christ. Not only were they of gold, but they were also of silver. How much is a talent worth today? Well, we'll of gold. We'll get to that. Anyway, so here's the kicker. So when the guy comes back after a long time, he came back to his servants to reckon with them. And the first one with 5 brought another 5. Look, I made you another 5 talents. And he said, well done. Great. Yeah, I'll give you rulership over many things. The second guy, same 2 to 4. Well done. The one that received the 1 talent, here is where options trading starts to come into play. Listen to what this third servant says. Lord, I knew that thou art an hard man, reaping where you did not sow. Seeds. Reaping where you did not sow, and I've got a receipt on that so we can make a contract out of that. Strawing where you didn't straw. You got straw. And you didn't plant it. Interesting. Now, what's even more is that the Lord answered, said unto him, thou wicked and slothful servant, thou knewest that I reap where I sowed not, gather where I have not strawed. What should he have done? He should have put my money to the exchangers, to the stock market exchangers, and then at my coming, I should have received my own with usury, or the bankers with interest. Usury. And take the talent from him and give it to the guy with 10 talents. And we'll go over this. There is Jewish law or precedence that if you want to guard a talent, you are allowed to bury it. That's in my history part later. You can bury your talent and then you won't get dinged. That's not encouraged. Believe me. And you'll see I'll go through Jewish law. We're going to go through some Jewish law on this. And so, therefore, given it, and that whole precedent of giving that 1 talent to him that has 10 is also Jewish law. You always give it to the one that has the best success. Okay? Now, cast this guy out, and there'll be weeping and gnashing of teeth. Now, where is here it is. I have a question for you all. Business talents, called the 5 C's of business. If you're an employer and you are asking an employee to work for you, or you're interviewing them, what do you want them to have? You want them to be competent, of course, in your business. You want them to be of a good character. Commitment would be excellent. Communication with you and the other personnel, other employees, and collaborate willingly. Okay. So, servant number 1, he was given 5 talents. All right, there's 5 right there. I have $500 bills in my hand. I will give $100 to every new talent you can come up with that servant number 1 had. And show it to me in Scripture. I think I'm pretty safe on these 5. 5 more talents. It's not talking about what we think is a talent show. This is a different, deeper issue that Jesus is talking about here in Matthew 25. And there's a reason he told this. Very important reason. We will cover it. But I am saying listen to as we go through this, you will then begin to understand that this story that he told has it's more. Of course, the guys had to have ability. What about that servant number 3? Did he have any business? No, he was so dumb he stuck it in the ground instead of stuck it to the bank. And the master told him, you lazy, stupid dude. You could have put it to the exchangers. And now I'm going to reveal to you how much a gold talent is today. $5 million right now. You can go on vcalc.com, plug in gold talent, and it'll show you whatever the price is right now. It's over $5 million. And when I started this course, it was down at $4 million. It's already gone up to like $1 million from when I started putting this together. The price of gold. So the first guy had $25 million, and then he got back another, now he's at $50 million when that man came back. 10 to 20 million. Then you go to the third guy, he stuck it in the ground. Well, what's 4% of $5 million per year? Anybody with a calculator? What is 5 million times 0.04? Okay, here we go. Take 5. If you don't have, let's do it. 5 million times 0.04. He was losing his master $200,000 a year. And we don't know how long that guy took to come back. $200,000 a year. That stupid, lazy third servant. But he had legal precedence to stick that in the ground. That was legal. But was it right? No, he was told to trade. You should trade. Okay, so next one. And again, here's a different take on it. The Complete English Bible. The kingdom of heaven, like a man leaving. And what did he have? 5 valuable coins. Now it's talking about coins. And the same thing happened. He goes, gained 5, traded, came back. Excellent, excellent. Everything's good. And well done. And then the one that received 1, verse 24. Master, I knew that you are a hard man. You harvest grain that you didn't plant. Right there. Right there. You harvest grain where you haven't sown. You gather crops that you haven't spread seed. Really? That's how they were doing business. That man. He was good. And in this course, you're going to see how they did it. That's coming. All right. So what is it? You evil and lazy servant. You knew that I harvest grain where I haven't sown and gather crops where I haven't spread seed. Why didn't you give your money to the banker so that when I returned, you could give me, not the servant, what belonged to me with interest? This has nothing to do with the guy's capability. The talents show. This has to do with he didn't trade it. Like the man said, you need to be trading this. Okay. Anyway, so, and I have, it's another complete Jewish Bible. And what's interesting here is they look at verse 15. To one he gave 5 talents, equivalent to 100 years' wages. So 1 talent was 5 years' wages. 5 to 100. 5 to 100, yeah, 20 years. 20 per talent. So you say, well, but how much can a person make in 20 years in our time? 20 years per talent. Do you get the point? This is a lot of money. This was a ton of money that Jesus is talking about to these people. He wasn't messing around. Talents to them were huge. In fact, the gold talents were what they would have for like the Jewish temple or Rome. In all of these are weights. These are heavy weights, and we'll show this. They were weights that was used for business in huge estates and huge amounts, or tribute paying to Rome, was in talents. Matthew knew talents, as we'll find out. He knew talents. Same thing. Let's go. I knew you were hard and I was afraid. The same old thing. And here is also an expanded, and I like what it says at the top, a story. It doesn't say parable, a story. Now, let me just clarify. Is every parable a story? Yes. But is every story a parable? No. Okay? And I could tell you that Matthew 25, that is a story. And we're going to expand on this. Anyway, so, and according to his ability, they gave bag of gold, a talent, got a bag of gold, and a talent was worth 6,000 denarii, or 20 years of wages for a laborer. What is a denarii? Denarii is what the Romans came up with to replace the drachma. The silver drachma from Alexander the Great. One silver drachma is equal to one soldier's day pay or a skilled labor. It's a drachma. Oh, I'll later. And you'll see it. I actually have a Alexander the Great silver drachma 2,200 years ago in my bag right now. And you'll all get to see it. Not today. But that is, and I weighed it. It's right at, where are we doing good? So it's right at 4.1 grams. It's supposed to be 4.12 grams of silver. Okay, they cheated me just a little. Called edging. That's why some of your coins have the grooves around it, like the quarter and the dime have edge. Why they put that there is because in the past, people would take, if it didn't have it, and start cutting the edges. And you get enough of that, then you can take that to make more. And the government said, not, we're going to put grooves to keep you from edging. Well, my coin got a little edged. Anyway, so, but here's what I'm getting at, is that the master, 5 bags of gold, and all right, 4 and 5 more, goes all the way down, and it's the same deal. All right, could have stuck it in the bank, and now, this slide should pique your interest. This is the next chapter to chapter 25. And it says up there, when Jesus finished his discourse, he told them, you know that Passover is coming in 2 days, and the Son of Man is to be betrayed and handed over for crucifixion. If I know his date of death was March 24th, 34 CE, he told this story on March 22nd. I can date this story right there. Okay. Now, here's the talent of gold. Here it is. So this, when I first started, was around 4,372,065. Now it's up to 5 million. And this was just a few days ago. And here's interesting. Here it was at 4,000. Let me update one more slide. Here it is. So a talent of gold close to currently 5 million. 2 talents, 10, 5, 25 million, just like I told you. That's what today's worth of these talents is. Pretty impressive. And how much did King Solomon's annual income? 100,000 million billion. 1 Kings 10:14. 666 of gold. 1 Kings 10:14. How much in 100,000 talents? David's funding of the Solomon Temple. 100,000 million billion dollars. 100,000 talents. Queen of Sheba's gift to Solomon. She gave him 120 talents, 100,000, $602 million that Queen of Sheba in gold to Solomon. Pretty impressive. All right. So now we're starting to get into more of the coinage and descriptive, and so we're good. Now, up here, 1 attic gold talent. If you go and research this, you will find that the consensus, what's called Attic or Athens, that's a Greek term. The Attic Athens consensus is for 1 talent,
34 kilograms.
74.8 pounds, and you could try to feel what that lifts, what that would be to lift it. For a silver talent, 26 kilos at 57.3 pounds. 1 silver talent, 6,000 attic drachmas. 100 attic drachmas equals 1 mina. Got it? That's a clue right there on today's course. Selling time with mina weights. 100 drachma to 1 mina. 100 shares of a company to 1 mina contract. I want you to think of selling options as mina contracts. Then you can start to get away from the term option in your head, which is for the buyers. They have no obligation. You do. But you got a lot of control of your mina. You have a ton of control over that mina, especially if it goes against you. You can use time. And I think Ben probably, I don't know if you ever tried that. Roll it out and up. Where you go.
I've done that, yes.
Yes. So you know what I'm talking. Okay, so we're down to 10 minutes. Now, so drachma in Greek was a handful, a grasp, 6 obol. Oh, also mina means to count. Daniel 5:25 through 28, and I've got a little video of this. In Daniel 5:28, there is and we talked about it, a guy by the name of Belshazzar, the son of Nebuchadnezzar, okay? And he had a feast. And he said, get me the goblets out of that my dad brought, and he drinks, blah, 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 and drink. And then all of a sudden, up on the wall, handwriting on the wall, mina, M-E-N-E, mina, where's my mina? It's on here. There it is, right there. That was on the wall, just like spelled, just like that in English. Mina, tekel, upharsian. To count, tekel, to weigh in the scales. And you have been found wanting, and your kingdom is divided to the Medians, the Magi tribe, Medians, and Medes and Persians. Cyrus the Persian is the one that took it over that night. Mina. How did that get developed? Well, Alexander the Great, he actually was the one that developed that, the mina. With his 100, he said 100 drachmas equals 1 mina. 100 shares of a company, 1 contract. Mina contract, enough money to buy 100 shares, of course, would be obtaining potentially at a lower price 100 shares of a company that you want to own. And then they will give you those shares so that now you can use that as another mina. And I will be using this Attic Athens weights and coinage names from 300 BCE, Alexander the Great. By the completion of this course, you probably not exclusively, you'll understand the terminology of executing your option trading from the concept of 100 to 1 minas. And I am now ready to finish this day. Hopefully, this has been enlightening. It's been an amazing ride for me because I didn't know any of what I presented just 3 months ago on this calendar stuff. I had no idea. I didn't know it. And this whole deal of being able to get to the death of Jesus. That's really fascinating. And as investigators, you now have the tools to be able to do it on your own. Anyway, it's good having you here, and I'll see you next week at 1 p.m. and we will hit the more of the history and more of the stock market option trading. Thank you for coming.
Thank you.